Hi and welcome to a new In the Mail episode. I have received a bunch of items from China as usual, so let's get started looking at these items. We're going to start with this soldering iron tip thermometer. I got this one from Banggood. It's a no-name, but looks like a clone of the HAKKO FG100 thermometer, and I think it works with basically the same thermocouples. So you get the meter inside the package and a set of 10 replacement thermocouples, because if you keep touching these with the soldering iron tip, they will wear out and need replacing. This one is the Celsius version, and I don't know if you can get the Fahrenheit version. At least from what I've seen on eBay, all of these clones seem to be Celsius only. However, don't just go and buy one that is marked HAKKO for $15 off eBay, because that's not a real one, that's also a clone. Real HAKKO version of this meter should cost around $150. I have read online that the real HAKKO has a jumper inside that will allow you to switch from Celsius to Fahrenheit, but I don't think the clones have that option. So I'm going to take this one apart right now and see how it looks inside. And we get a dreaded epoxy blob for the microcontroller. Let's see, what is this guy right here. This is a 4000 series logic chip. It looks like an HEF 4013. I don't remember that one from the top of my head. So I just checked. The 4013 is a dual D-type flip-flop. And right here we have an LM385, which is a voltage reference, 1.2 volt voltage reference, and that is most likely used in the temperature sensing circuit when measuring the temperature from the thermocouple. We see a couple of adjustment pots here. These might be for calibration purposes. And I think this is a dual pad arrangement here, so they can get the reference in SO8 package or in this transistor style. I think this is TO92 package. I'm not sure about the microcontroller being used here. Probably an 8051 or something compatible, probably taken directly from a Chinese manufacturer, just to keep everything nice and cheap. I don't see any jumper though for switching from Celsius to Fahrenheit, so if you're planning to do that, I'm afraid it's not possible with this meter. And there is no point in taking this further apart. There will be nothing on the other side of this PCB except for the LCD. Surprisingly, as you saw, this thing came with a 9-volt battery installed, which is rare these days. Nobody ships batteries anymore, especially through standard post. Even though it's a crappy battery, I was able to use it out of the box, and that's a nice thing. One thing I don't like is that they used a slightly opaque film on this front panel legend, so it kind of takes away from the contrast of the LCD. So anyway, let's install a thermocouple on this thing and see how it works. The thermocouples have these two red and blue terminals that correspond to the red and blue terminals on the meter. And there is a third point right here, which you can control with this lever. And I think that's just for mechanical rigidity. Okay, so right now it's reading about 30 degrees C, but I may have heated that thermocouple while holding it with my hand. It's about 27 degrees ambient right here in my lab. But let's test this with my soldering iron and see how crappy these soldering irons are. So I've switched on the soldering iron, and as you can see, the temperature very slowly increases. And it takes an awful lot of time for this iron to get to temperature. It's like a linear increase in temperature. It doesn't just speed up. Yeah, so maybe right about now we are able to melt solder. By the way, this is my Gordak 936A analog soldering station. Yeah, so this is about the temperature that I'm usually working on, 350, because well, you might think that's a lot, but with these crappy irons, they just don't have the thermal capacity and they will lose temperature very fast when you start soldering. This thing also has a max hold function, but it's not exactly what you would expect. For example, I was expecting when activated, I was expecting for the meter to just work like the min-max function on a multimeter and record the maximum temperature. But as you can see, it's just a hold function, not a max function, because the value doesn't change. And if I deactivate the hold, yeah, we can see we get new updates. So I guess the whole point of this thermometer is to monitor your soldering iron temperature. You could do that while calibrating the soldering iron or just to check the performance of a new soldering iron. I have seen tests when this one has been put along the original HAKKO tester, and it seems like they measure approximately the same. You can't tell the difference, and that is to be expected because measuring the temperature with a thermocouple is not exactly rocket science. It's quite easy to get right. Sure, they're going to skimp on the quality of the product, but the actual measurement should be the same. So a link for this product will be in the description below. Our next item is this Breakout module. Let me just take it out of the anti-static bag. So I first saw this A6 Breakout module on Andreas Spy's channel, the guy with the Swiss accent. He likes to play with ESP Wi-Fi modules, and he showed this A6 module in a video. It seemed interesting, so I ordered one. This one, however, is not a Wi-Fi module, but a GSM GPRS module as labeled on this shield. It's made by the same company that makes the ESP Wi-Fi shielded module, the AI Thinker. The module is interesting because of its low cost and interesting set of features. I have worked with the SIM 900 GSM module in a product I designed, and at that time it seemed like the best option, price versus functionality. But now with this A6 module, it seems like you get the same set of features for half the price. So I think this module is going to become popular and a lot of people are going to start using it. I paid $5 for this module on eBay, but this is a Breakout board. It comes with an antenna and a SIM card, all in a format that it's easy to use even on a breadboard. You can get just the surface mount module, even cheaper, for using in a product design where you don't need the Breakout. A couple of words about the features of this module. It's a quad band, so it's going to work practically everywhere in the world. It's got extensive AT command set, as well as configuration possible through SMS, and it's low power, just 3 milliamps standby current, and it's got all the other features that the existing modules have. So I think it's worth giving this module a try if you need this kind of connectivity in your project. I don't know if it's something, I don't remember seeing this in Andre's video, but mine just has this ugly dent in the shield, and it looks like it's been punctured. I'm not sure if the antenna that was inside the same anti-static bed could have done that. I'm really not sure why there is this dent on my shield. Next we have these multimeter probes. These are not your typical low-cost Chinese probes, but they're not exactly top class either. I would place these somewhere in between, but they're certainly good enough for me. What's special about them is the fine tip they have. Let me show you up close how they look. As you can see, very sharp. These probes will allow you to get in there on the fine pitch SMD components and probe wherever you like on a PCB. They feel okay in the hand. They have a bit of strain relief on the probes and on the banana connectors as well. They are marked Cat 3 1000 volts 20 amps on the probe itself. They don't have any markings on the cables, but that's not mandatory. Sometimes even brand name probes don't have actual markings on the cables. They are not as soft as a pair of Fluke cables, but they're not hard as the cheap Chinese cables either. They're somewhere in between, and the insulation seems to be a bit thicker than what I have on my Fluke probes. Unfortunately, I'm not going to destroy these to show you the strands of copper inside the cables, because I quite like the sharp tips they have, and I need a pair of probes like this on my bench. But the seller does show some pictures, and the cable is supposed to have 50 strands of 0.15 millimeters diameter wire. These were recommended by a viewer in the comment section, if I remember correctly, and they can be found on eBay for about $7 with free shipping. There will be a link in the description below if you'd like to check them out. I also got these two Peltier modules. I never had any, and I was curious to play with this for some time now. These are the Tech 1 12706 model. They have a maximum 6 amp and 14 volts input. I think they're about 70 watts rated. And as you know, these things get cold on one side and hot on the other. So don't just power them up freestanding, because they will get damaged if they have no way of clearing that heat away. You need to attach this thing to a heatsink, at least the hot side, to pull all that heat away to avoid any damage. So I think for these, the cold side, the cold side is this one with the marking on, and the hot side is the one without any markings. As you can see, this one is a bit dirty. I already played with this one and used some silver thermal paste attached it to a heatsink. And that thing, once you use it, it never comes off completely, especially from this type of material, which seems to be a bit porous, like a ceramic material. I think my next experiment will be to stack two of these in series to see if that helps in getting the cold side even colder. I think you can also find these modules with different part numbers and different specifications. I think there are some with high power ratings that will obviously work better at the expense of higher energy consumption. You can also find modules sold complete with heatsink assembly to get you started faster. Next, I got some of these plastic bottles with needles. They are very handy on the workbench. They come in different sizes and colors. I like the transparent ones because I can see the level of the liquid inside, and I can also see if the liquid starts to separate and it needs some mixing before usage. They are very cheap, so I ordered a bunch in different sizes, and as I can show you here, I am already using them on my bench to store some lubricating oil and a couple of different types of soldering fluxes. I think these are all made out of low density polyethylene. so they should be safe for storing most of the stuff that we use on the electronic bench. But if you're not sure, it is best to check first, and Wikipedia might help here. Next, let's take a look at this universal power socket with dual USB charging ports. I got this one from eBay, not because I want to use it, but because I'm curious about the quality of this socket and the way it's built to be universal, to accept basically all types of plugs. It can accept US, UK and European. First of all, these come in all sorts of variants. There are some that have on-off switches on the front plate. There are some just with the European socket and other variations. But I'm quite sure all of these cheap ones coming from China, they suffer from the same problem. Cheap, unreliable power supply being used for the USB sockets. Maybe one that is not safe either. So I'm going to do a separate video where we take a look at this one. We will put it to a test and then take it apart for an autopsy. Our next item is this set of tactile switches. I almost always need tactile switches in my projects, and it's nice to have an assortment of different sizes in my lab so that I can choose the best option for that particular job. These should be 14 different types in here, 10 pieces each, so I think I'm going to use one of these organizer plastic boxes to keep these switches. I already have a smaller organizer box with the tactile switches, but it looks like I may need a bigger one now to hold even more models of the switches. So this set was ordered from Banggood for about $4, but I think you can find these on eBay as well, maybe in different configuration sets. And like I said, you can never have enough switch models. You always need a different height one or a different overall size to fit your current project. Definitely something I would recommend having in your lab next to your resistor, capacitor and LED set. So this is how my tactile switch kit looks like. I got in here 15 different tactile switch models, and I also had 4 types that I couldn't fit in here anymore, and I'm going to keep these in a plastic box. But what I have here covers most of the job that I do right here on my bench. So it is a good thing to have a kit like this on your bench. And as I mentioned, I have stuff like this for LEDs as well, for some common nuts and bolts. And these are just kits that I like to keep on my bench because they're always useful when tinkering with something, when creating small projects. I also got some of these ceramic fast-acting fuses. These are 1 amp 250 volts. I plan on using these in the IAC socket on the recent power supply build, because 1 amp it's a nice value that will cover the needs of that power supply and will avoid blowing the fuse with the inrush current for the transformer when you first turn it on. So I recommend you get yourself some 1 amp fuses, and if you haven't seen the video where I built that power supply, I'm going to link it on this video so you can watch it. And our last item for today is this survival case. It's actually a really nice thing. I quite like it. It's waterproof and shockproof, so anything you put inside here should be safe during your outdoor trips. It's made out of this hard plastic, which seems like it could withstand quite a fall. It has these 4 retaining clips that help keep the lid closed. It's a bit difficult to open. These clips are not very ergonomic. I also see an O-ring on the lid edge, so it does look like it could keep water out. And you get these 2 pieces of foam. I think these are about 2 centimeters thick, and these will offer the shock protection. So if you were to put your phone inside here and go for a boat ride, I wouldn't worry about the water getting in. Also, it would survive any shocks without a problem, and that's exactly the reason I got it, to use it during my outdoor activities to store things like my phone or anything that might be sensitive. You can get one of these for under $4 with free shipping from Banggood, and they come in beige, black and orange. This particular model is about 17 by 11 by 4.5 centimeters exterior size, but I think you can also find these in other larger sizes. For me, this one was perfect. Thank you for watching this video. If you like these kind of videos, don't forget to hit the like button. That always helps. And I will see you next time.